Dear listeners, just when you thought that it couldn't get any worse, it's about to get funnier. Sincerely, Tactless.
Welcome to episode 2 of Sincerely Tactless. Today we're talking about work relationships because, well, we have jobs.
I'm Sasha. I'm a girl with a warm heart, and I'm already sick of your shit. Yay! So don't try me. But I still love you.
I'm Tony. I'm a frustrated musician who will tell you to your face, being a dog mom is not a thing.
Hi, I'm Lizzie. I'm the tiny lady marmalade that holds this turd sandwich together. Hey, Tony, you want to read the first question this week?
Oh gosh, sure. All right. So this person says, I'm having difficulty aligning with one of my nicest coworkers. She's a coworker in a similar role who puts a lot of added stress on herself. She's overwhelmed when brought into new projects, but when we try to give her a break, she feels excluded. Any advice? Well, this is actually pretty difficult for me to wrap my head around because I'm definitely not this person. You know, I don't align with it either. I do not enjoy stress whatsoever. Any opportunity for me to get rid of that stuff, I take it away. But I think some people really just thrive on it. Some people actually, I would go so far to say, work better under stress than otherwise. They feel like when they're not under the gun, they have no other motivation, you know? So I would honestly say maybe just be, I don't know, just I guess more aware of the way other people act, the way other people work. Just because you feel like she needs a break, maybe she doesn't. You know, maybe she really feels like she's out there kicking ass and doing a lot of good when she's stressed and kind of overworked or like riding that line. You know, maybe instead of really giving her a break, maybe just, you know, give her a little assist here and there, keep open communication with her. And, you know, if she needs help with a project or if she can delegate some small tasks to someone else, maybe to try to alleviate it, but have her still, you know, doing some of the work. I think that's really the only good suggestion that I would have, just based on how I would deal with it if I was, you know, working with somebody like that, just because everybody's got their own way of doing things. You know, not everybody's going to run from stress like I do. Not everybody's going to need a break all the time. Or maybe when she does, she wants to be the one to make that call. You know, I think Sasha needs to jump in. She's looking very pensive right now.
Actually, I was thinking along the lines of what you just said at the end. First, I was thinking that this person sounds like an anxious person in general, just generally sort of wound a little bit tighter maybe than other people are. And it also sounds like she would want it to be her call, whether she takes a break or not someone else telling her you need to take a break, because then it's not her call and she probably feels like they don't want her working, or, you know, she's probably misinterpreting that. But if they put the ball in her court and say, if you'd like to take a break, go for it. If not, you know, it's fine. Then she's doing it to herself, but at least she was the one making that decision. So, I mean, I can understand feeling overwhelmed at work sometimes, but to feel also excluded when people try to give you a break is kind of foreign to me as well, I guess, in a way. But it just sounds like she wants to feel like she's in control of the work that she's doing, and she doesn't ever feel that way. It's like it's either too much or she's being left out of it or something like that on her team. So that's sort of the impression that I got from that question.
Yeah, I kind of wonder too, like, is the situation either like internally or externally at this job for this coworker like feeling kind of tenuous? You know what I mean? Like she always feel like she's got to prove herself, or she's always on edge about that. And yeah, then in that case, what you guys said is totally, totally on point. I mean, yeah, whether it's an internal conflict or an external conflict, she obviously feels like she needs to step it up and be on point all the time.
Right.
Or she's a masochist. I don't know which one.
Some people are just martyrs. Like I've worked with people like that where they'll complain all day long about what they have to do, but then they never delegate anything because they want to be the one to say, well, I did all of this work. And I don't know if that's the case in this situation, but I have worked with people like that.
Yeah. Yeah. They're never happy one way or another. That's a good point too. Yeah. I mean, she may come off as nice, but she's really very wound, very tight, right? Mm-hmm. Type A.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. And then it's hard to understand that if you're not that way. So
true.
They feel like they totally don't align with that way of thinking. So they're having an issue with it, which makes sense. It is difficult to understand it.
Well, yeah, it's like so counterintuitive. Like for me, it seems so simple. You know, like if you're brought onto a project and you feel overwhelmed, you ask for help or you get help, or you almost feel relieved if you know you're going to be overwhelmed working on a project and they don't ask you. So it's like she's warring with herself, you know, like she either doesn't feel like she has the chops to do her job, or if she's not asked to do something, she gets upset that other people recognize that she doesn't have the chops. Who knows? You know, who knows what the issue is there.
It's a lose-lose situation. You're not going to make her happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it sounds for sure.
It's nice that this person's concerned about it, but you know, it's not really it's not even necessarily their issue to take on either. You know, sounds like this other coworker has other deep-rooted problems with with taking on responsibility or being okay with not taking on responsibility or not having your face or your name on something. You know, we could speculate all night about her motives behind all that too. You know, I don't know how deep you want to get into that. So
deep. Let's psychoanalyze this person here.
Oh my gosh.
they didn't feel loved by their teachers.
Maybe they lied on their resume. They put skill sets that they don't have and they don't want to be exposed.
Yeah, project manager for NASA. Yeah, it would make a lot of sense.
She was working at Chipotle.
Yeah.
Handing out guac. Ooh, we got a little short story here to go through.
Yeah, Sasha, you want to read a novel? Novella?
Why do you always do this to me? Just kidding.
We'll have to put you on the spot.
When my boss hired me as an assistant 4 years ago, she specifically told me my job was to do whatever the person above me wants. I wasn't allowed to communicate with anyone on the job other than the lady above me. Even though it was tough to watch my supervisor make so many bad decisions and get away with it, I did what was required of me. Interesting. Now I have worked my way up and have an assistant of my own. However, my boss has given my assistant much more than she ever gave me when I was in that position. Sometimes I feel like she acts like I'm not valued. I want to point it out, but I don't want to be that kind of person. I love what I do, but I don't know how much longer I can handle being treated this way. Should I tell her how I feel? She constantly leaves me out of important decisions and then tries to play mind games to make up for it. She is also giving my assistant important information before telling me. I don't know what I should do. Wow, that's a lot of information. I'm just wondering where their role is in relation to the boss person now, I guess. That part is a little confusing. I know I get distracted by detail, but I mean, it's feelings in work is very difficult for me personally. I try to compartmentalize in a way, I guess, at work. I just try to get along with everyone. I keep everything smooth. I do the job I got to do. I mean, I don't know. Like I wouldn't say anything about how I feel about it. I guess it depends on how bad it is and if it's affecting her job. You know, if it's not just a feelings issue, if it's, you know, I can't do my job because I don't have all the information you're telling my assistant before me and I can't perform the way that I want to, I would see then bringing it up. but it sounds like it's an interpersonal issue, like about feelings. And I don't know, it sounds like they sat there and took a lot being the person's assistant for a while, and then they felt like they couldn't find their voice and they couldn't tell anyone and they just had to put up with it. And then now they're in a position of more power and they feel like, now I should be able to say something. Now I'm more valuable. I think they even use that term somewhere, like, now I have more value because I'm more valuable to this company. I should be able to say something. You know, this person's doing wrong. You can try to work things out with people. I mean, if it was me, I wouldn't, just because of my personality. But if it's going to bother this person that much, they probably should at least bring it up and let that person respond in some way. They may not even know what they're doing. They may be very apologetic about it. Yeah, I mean, it's obviously bugging them. So they probably should just bring it up in a rational way and just see what the person says back to them and, you know, try to squash everything and move on if they can.
I can't help but feel that that there's some bitterness and resentment here. Because it sounds like the person writing the letter, it seems like she kind of resented her boss from the beginning, right?
True.
It seems like I personally just can't help but feel that is coloring this whole relationship, this whole boss and subordinate relationship, and that it almost seems like she's just finding stuff to get annoyed or upset about, because she's made this entire thing all about her. Just reading through it, because I read through it a couple different times now, you know, talking about she was hired, she's talking about how she wasn't allowed to communicate. She did what she had to do. She worked her way up. She has an assistant. You know what I mean? Like, it just seems like this person almost feels to me like she was in like a power struggle with her boss from the beginning. Like, she saw herself as more than an assistant when she started and resented the fact that she was kept in that position, and then when moved up, resents anything that looks like it might be an attack on her or a way to circumvent whatever authority she has at the moment by going to her assistant. So I would say, first and foremost, maybe stop and take a look inside for these types of things, because your perception of what's going on and your own feelings can color an entire source of all these things. You know, it really could be next to nothing that's going on, and they're just blowing it all out of proportion. And there may be some shared animosity there. You don't know. I don't know what the boss is like. Maybe the boss saw this person as a threat from the beginning. Maybe they saw them as gunning for their job to start with, and they were kind of arrogant about it, and the boss felt like they need to put them in check, because you have to respect your boss's position, whether you like him or not, or agree or not, first and foremost. If you don't want to do that, then find another job. I mean, I would check myself first and really kind of take a step back and try to take a, you know, high level view of what's going on. And the other thing too is, didn't say a whole lot about the assistant that this person has now, but talking about how the boss giving an assistant important information before telling her or whatever. Maybe you should have a better relationship with your assistant too. Work as a team, so you show that, you know, you guys are communicating constantly and united. And then when the boss wants to say something to your assistant that they don't want to say to you, they'll know immediately that it's going to get around to you, because your assistant is that loyal to you. The most powerful thing you could do is have that connection, have that communication, that camaraderie together, and be loyal to each other. You know, obviously this person's your assistant and she's on your team. You know, act like a team. Keep it like that. I don't know, there's a few different ways to approach it, but I really can't help but hear a me monster in here who who's making this whole situation about her getting ahead and feeling slighted, and just one of those people that's just never going to be satisfied unless they're sitting on top of the heap. You know, I don't know that she looks like, I don't know that she ever really understood where she sat in the hierarchy of what she's doing and appreciated that. I don't know, I just came at it from a totally different angle, but that's what I'm here for.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that sentence, even though it was tough to watch my supervisor make so many bad decisions and get away with it, I did what was required of me. Like that was really telling, right?
Yeah, like you hear all of this little passive aggressive pokes coming out, trying to take away the credibility of anyone else that they work with. The boss, the previous supervisor, even the assistant. They kind of brush over that, oh, I have an assistant now. Sometimes they get information and I don't. And it's like, well, I don't know. I hear a lot of selfishness here, a lot of opportunity to show some humility maybe, and put aside your own bitterness and resentment for whatever you feel like the situation is supposed to reflect, and maybe focus on being the best you can in your current role and building up the people who are working with you, and work together, and it'll come out. If somebody is throwing wrenches in the cogs there, if your boss is really jacking stuff up and not sharing things that they're supposed to, if you are united with the rest of your team, they're gonna look like the odd man out every time. It's when you all compete and engage in that chaotic nonsense high school drama crap at work that you should be past already, that you just breed a toxic work environment for everybody. And that's kind of what it sounds like, honestly, is some high school drama.
Yeah, I think for me, I was drawing from an experience I had with a boss that treated everyone differently depending on whether she liked them or not. She was pretty unbearable. So, but I see what you're saying about how this is a very self-focused question. It's really not, giving you specific examples of what the boss is doing, or it's more like about this person. I don't know. I think I was able to see it differently, I guess, because of that experience. I don't know if that's the case here, but I know kind of what it's like to deal with a boss that's horrible like that, and that, plays their favorites and then treats everyone differently depending on whether they approve of you or not. And I don't know if anybody else has had an experience like that, but
that is true. I mean, all of our opinions are going to be colored by whatever we've had to deal with. I mean,
right.
I don't think I've ever had to deal too much with a boss that, crapped on me like that or anything like that. So maybe that's why I can't really commiserate with this person in that way.
But in a way, you can be more objective because of that. I feel like in my experience, I saw people quit because of a horrible manager, like great employees that were very smart and great at what they did. And she totally drove them away because of her attitude and the way she treated them. So that is totally coloring my opinion. But I feel like you can be more objective, like I'm saying, because you didn't have a boss like that, which is good. Be thankful. For sure.
Yeah, I've had plenty of different bosses, but I don't, maybe that was just me, but I've never had any that I felt like really singled me out. I do try to kind of fly under the radar though too. I'm not one of those gung ho, I'm gonna shake up the whole department from day one, but some people come in like that, that's their game,
They do.
Guns blazing.
Good point.
Pew pew. You know what I'm wondering? There are two scenarios that come to mind in this. Is that A, the letter writer is the office PETA, pain in the A, or the new assistant is a major suck up, right? And that's why she gets all the info, because she's, kissing butts.
Could be.
Never know.
That's the problem, is where, you get a letter and you're only seeing someone's perception, and gosh, perception is only what they see and is only as unique as every person. So I mean, this could be miles away from the real situation. We have no idea.
Yeah. What do they say? There's 3 sides to every story.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
True.
His side, her side, and the truth.
Absolutely. All right, you guys ready for another one?
For shizzle. but you got to read this one. We're dragging you in. This is a team effort.
All right, here we go. Letter number 3. A good friend of mine hired my older brother as security for an event she was hosting, and apparently he did a horrible job. According to her, he was drinking on the job, yay, wasn't paying close attention to the guest list, and let people into the event who were not supposed to be there.
Ooh.
She called me and told me that she's thinking it's necessary to dock his pay. While I don't necessarily think it's right to pay him less than the agreed upon amount, I support her decision because he should have done a better job. There is now tension between the two of them because he sincerely believes that he didn't do anything wrong. He says he worked longer than initially agreed to work and didn't drink anything with alcohol in it. I don't know who to believe or how to make them resolve this issue. How do I help them resolve this? And how do I avoid taking sides? Wow.
Yeah. Talk about a cluster. Yeah, this one seems like a huge mess. I have a lot of questions. So this is starting. Let's start at the top here. Good friend of mine hired my older brother as security for an event. Why? Has he ever done security before? Does he know what the job entails? Did the friend explain to him what his position was and what his duties were? We have no idea. I mean, this could just be a complete just lack of communication, lack of information type situation here. You know, if he did a horrible job, there's no specifics on that either. You know, it says according to her he was drinking, but according to him he wasn't. So my position is innocent until proven guilty. If he said that he was drinking something but it didn't have alcohol in it, maybe he was just drinking Cokes all night. Who knows? If she can't prove that he was drinking, if he wasn't like belligerent and drunk, who knows? You know, it seems like there's a lot of vague details in here as far as what's going on. And then you hire him for one job and you're going to immediately dock his pay because he didn't like what he did. I think that's too drastic. You know, as an employer, sometimes if you take a chance on somebody, it doesn't go well. You pay him for that job and you just don't hire them again. You learned something, great, just don't call him back. I think docking his pay is a little drastic. You know, if you agreed to pay him to do something and he showed up and didn't completely muck it up, then I would just pay him and take it as a lesson to not hire him again if you really don't like him, you know, because now you're straining the relationship between you and your friend over something that's not even within their control. You know, that's kind of the way I would look at it.
Right. Tell your friend, hey, contract said you would pay him this much. He could take you to court. Make it sound like, you know, he could be the bad guy.
Try to be diplomatic a little bit. You know, obviously don't take a hard stance. You know, if you don't pay my brother this, then, you know, I'm never going to talk to you again. You're coming to my birthday party. Don't act like a 12-year-old, but, you know, just be real. Just be like, yeah, well, you hired him. You know, if you didn't think you did a good job, you know, you did agree to pay him. I would just pay him what you're supposed to pay him and then be done with it. Because honestly, too, the legalities of docking someone's pay is not something you really want to get involved in. You could get the crap suit out of you pretty easily because it's not something you can just do. You have to have so much to back that up, what you're docking and why you're docking his pay, that I wouldn't even go down that road. As somebody who hires somebody, I wouldn't do it. But you know, it also doesn't really sound like this good friend who's hosting an event is very business savvy. So, you know, it sounds like they could use a couple hard lessons to maybe gain some experience in that. Do I just come down hard on everybody, or is that just you guys are enjoying it though, right?
Yeah. I guess for me, reading this, I don't know. I think it's a similar vein of part of what you said, that I don't think the friend expressed their expectations for the way that this job was going to go. Like they were expecting them to be like super vigilant with the guest list, and maybe they didn't want him drinking anything. And then they saw him drinking and they thought it was the alcohol. Nobody knows whether it was or not, but it just sounds like they had a lot of expectations and those were not met. The other thing, this may be a little too judgy too, but I'm reading this thinking that the friend hired the brother. does the brother not have a job? Like, he doesn't sound like a professional security person. He just sounds like he's trying to make some bucks on the side, and he's just kind of, not the most professional person either, probably. So he doesn't sound like he took it very seriously. I don't know. That's just the vibe that I'm getting from reading this, is like, oh yeah, she hired my brother, just a random dude, to come and do security here. And like, he doesn't know what he's doing. That's a tough spot to be in. I wouldn't take sides because their stories are so different. It's like, I was drinking, or he was drinking, and he's like, no, I was not drinking. He thought he did a good job, and she thought he did a horrible job. It's like the stories are just too conflicting. I mean, I would just probably suggest that she pay him, and like you said, just don't hire him to do any more work. It's hard to mix family and business and friends and stuff like that. So I would just try to be like, all right, it didn't go the way you wanted it to, but it's done. It's over. He was there. He did what he thought he was supposed to do, and just pay him off and be done with that, I guess. It is a tough spot.
Yeah, it definitely sounds deadbeat brotherish to me.
I was trying to avoid that word, but that's what I was thinking.
I'll just say it. It sounds a little bit like, dude can't get a job, so I got my buddy to hire him to work security because he doesn't do anything with his life or whatever. But even if that is the case, like even if he's having a hard way to go or whatever, communicating what his job duties are is number one on the list of hiring somebody. And if you didn't do that, eggs on your face. You can't blame everybody else for everything.
It's funny. You guys are saying deadbeat brother. I have like this mental picture of boxer shorts and a plaid robe and living in his parents' basement.
Right?
Like he had to get dressed that day to go be this big security guy. And
actually, and joke's on you. He didn't drink at the thing. He drank before the thing.
He gained it like a champ. Exactly. Yeah. I just feel bad making assumptions like that, but it just seems like, I don't know, this person is trying to like go to bat for him, and he can't even take care of that. Like he can't resolve it on his own with this friend and work it out without involving the sister, which is kind of sad. It's hard.
I know. Does it make you curious too how this arrangement came to be in the first place?
Mm-hmm. I could see this person saying, oh yeah, my brother can do that for you, kind of suggesting it and then going to bat for him, and then it didn't work out. And now they're kind of on the hook for it. That's kind of how it sounds.
Or, it's funny. I had a friend recommend another guy to do like some contract work for my house. And it turns out that the guy that he recommended owed him money. So I think that's why he recommended him, was thinking he's going to get finally paid. And that's why I recommended him to him. He turned out to be like the worst dude. Oh my gosh. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking now too. I'm like, does your brother owe you money? And that's why you're like, you better get a job. You better do the security deal so you can pay me.
What kind of friend would do that to you though? Refer you to someone like that? That was horrible.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
I'll tell you the name later. It's a mutual friend.
I don't know.
Ooh.
I knew it was bad when he would send me pictures of the supplies that he'd bought. He'd like text me pictures.
Oh gosh.
I was like,
wouldn't believe that he was buying supplies, or
right? What? Oversharing, and this is ridiculous. There's red flags.
Big time.
We have another note for Sasha if you want to read that one. It's shorter.
This one says, my friend of 10 years recently went through a nasty divorce after 5 years of marriage. And to save money, she ended up moving in with me temporarily. Ever since then, she's been pouring herself into work, working long hours without rest. I check in on her often to make sure she's all right. And while she claims that she's okay, I'm starting to see some signs of emotional distress. I'm worried that she might be depressed and trying to hide it through work. However, I am neither a mental health professional nor a divorcee. I can never say that word. Anyways, I want to be there for my friend. And by that, I mean I want to do more than just offer general platitudes of encouragement. What can I do to support her through this? Wow. Well, I probably have too much baggage for this question. I am divorced as well, and it was the most difficult time of my life. So I understand this person just trying to throw themselves into their work to try to distract themselves, because if you don't do that, then you can get very depressed. It does sound like a cry for help that this person is just so like overwhelmed with their work, and without rest. That just sounds exhausting. That just makes me kind of sad to think about this person going through this. Like they had to move out of their home, they're living with someone else, they're just trying to bury themselves in work. And I mean, general platitudes are okay, but what helped me the most was having people in my life at that time just listen without judgment and just let me say whatever that I wanted to say, no matter how ugly it was or how emotional it was, just to have someone to be that sounding board, I guess, where you can talk and no one's going to tell you that you're wrong or you shouldn't feel a certain way or, you're overreacting to it, because it's like going through a divorce is like a death in your life almost. Like, you get really attached to your marriage and it's like at the center point of your life, and then all of a sudden it's gone and you have to learn how to deal with that, and a lot of things are attached to that. So it really helps to have counseling or therapy or something like that. It doesn't really sound like this person is pursuing any of those things. I would definitely suggest that, but as a friend, I would just be there and support that person and let them know whatever they need, that you're there for them. And especially when they need to talk things out or they don't even know how they're feeling and they want to try to unpack some of that, to just be there during those times. I think that more than giving advice would be the best thing you could do, especially because you're not divorced and you can't really relate to them on that level. Just being there, night and day whenever they need you, letting them know that they have that support. That would be the best thing.
I think it, first of all, should be said that this friend is a fantastic friend, or at least it appears that way. I mean, you not only are allowing this friend of yours post-divorce to live with you temporarily, which it's not the easiest thing to do, but then you're concerned enough about your friend to pretty eloquently describe what's going on and ask for assistance. I think that's huge. I think like what Sasha was saying, you being there for your friend like this is priceless at this point. I would say, and you're going to know your friend better than anyone else, but I would say what would be a good thing for both of you to do is if you could plan some sort of trip and take them with you. Obviously you don't want to come at them and be like, hey, you work too much, I'm going to make you do this. Tread a little lightly because they're hurt. It's a reason they've been throwing themselves at their job. But maybe, tell them, hey, you want to go do this for the weekend, or I got tickets to go to this thing. Do you want to come with me? Or something like that. Because not only will that get them away from where they are physically, but mentally they'll detach a little bit too, and maybe it'll be an opportunity for you to both talk through kind of what they're feeling. Because when you step back like that from a traumatic situation where you're just hurt and you just feel like you're, if you don't pour yourself into your job, then you're just gonna wither away into nothing. If you step back for a minute and you see that there's somebody there that's really taking care of you and cares about your well-being, you open up to them a little bit, and that can start the healing process. Could be the catalyst that gets her on her way to recovery. That's what I would even suggest in this situation, is maybe try to do something like that. Go away for a weekend or a couple days or whatever. Get them on a vacation so they're not thinking about work, and then just being open to listening to them complain and talk about what their hurts are and what their fears are. And it's a scary situation to have the rug sort of pulled out from underneath you like that. Everything that you've based your major life decisions on, and probably a lot of minor ones, is gone now. So you kind of have to come back to terms with who you are as an individual, where you want to go, and then also you're dealing with thinking about somebody who you've poured your life into for years not giving two craps about you. So you have that feeling of worthlessness too. So you're trying to build up your own self-worth in addition to trying to figure out where you're going. So honestly, having a friend like this who's letting letting this person live with them and trying to work on getting them back on their feet is commendable by itself. But I think that moving forward, that would be a good thing to do. Just get away for a little bit and kind of push the reset button, if you will.
I totally agree. This person sounds like a very caring friend, and you can tell that they're being super humble in their question, and they're really concerned about this person. And it was a nasty divorce. It wasn't an amicable one. Not that I don't really feel like there are amicable divorces, but especially nasty ones, you definitely need to take time and recharge your batteries, because it takes a lot out of you. And then if you're pouring yourself into work like that, there's not going to be anything left of you. And to, like Tony said, take a trip and change your surroundings and stuff, go somewhere where you've never gone before, where you don't have a memory with that person. That's really helpful. So your brain can kind of switch gears, because every day it goes to the same place. Every day you're probably thinking about that person, and everything reminds you of them everywhere you go, that you've been with that person, everything you used to do together, so doing something out of the ordinary, it definitely helps break that cycle. I think that's a great suggestion.
Tony, you want to read the next one?
How do I know if a coworker is interested? I am interested in a coworker of mine and want to know if he feels the same. There's some clues to make me think he is, but then sometimes he gives me mixed messages. He's made comments a few times about a girl that is attractive. Does he only think of me as a friend, or is he just testing me, wanting to see how I react? Well, first of all, this is just a piece of friendly advice that'll probably save your career. No, coworker getting involved, don't do it. Awful idea, terrible idea. Also, sure sounds like you're an overthinker. Guys do not do that mentioning other girls thing to test people. I've never done that. I don't know other guys that do that.
Sometimes they do it to make girls jealous.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean he wants to be with her. He's just messing with her. I mean, that's what I feel like he's doing.
Yeah. I think you're probably reading a little bit too far into whatever your work relationship looks like. Take yourself out of it for a minute and just put in somebody else. Maybe he's just trying to be friendly or goof around or have little jokes with you here and there or whatever. But even if you are interested, dating a coworker is an awful idea. I mean, that's like, I don't know any company that is okay with coworkers dating or having some kind of relationship outside of work like that, because it causes tons of problems. So a lot of times, if you are dating a coworker, they'll end up either reprimanding you or letting you go or making one of you leave or something like that, because it's a nightmare for your supervisors and managers and for HR to even have to deal with something like that, because every personal issue you have between that person you bring to work every day anyway. It causes you to be a terrible employee. And let's be honest, if you're overthinking now, if you're dating this guy and working with him, you're not going to be doing too well. I'll just leave it at that, because I've been beating people up all night.
You big meanie.
The truth hurts, guys.
Sometimes it does.
We are tactless.
Part of the theme, right? I think this person is an overthinker. I'm an overthinker too, so I definitely understand. I think that they're really wanting this person to be interested, because they are. Even just reading the way that they worded it, there are some clues, like I think we've touched on this before, that when like a guy wants something, he's going to say it. Like men aren't that complicated. They're just not. We like to think they are, but they're pretty simple. I don't think this guy is interested. He's talking about other girls, he's giving her mixed messages sometimes and some clues. Like, I just don't feel like that's enough to be like, oh yeah, this guy is interested. And like you said, dating a coworker is always messy, regardless of whether you break up or not. It ends up bringing too much personal stuff to work. It can be really complicated. I've seen it happen. I've never done it myself personally, because I always have a rule that I don't date anyone at work. I've seen people that do and just how much trouble it causes. And
Just say no to dating coworkers. It doesn't go well. Ask me how I know. Because the thing too is if you are going over your mind and over and it's making you into a crazy person, whether you like him or not, or he likes you or not, that's a no, right? That if there's that much doubt, yeah, it's a no. Just go with that. And yeah, don't date a coworker, because your personal life spills into your work life, and all your coworkers probably already know that this is going on, because that's what coworkers do. And it'll just be really, really uncomfortable, whether it works out or not. It'll be really, really uncomfortable. And yes, he probably did mention that girl to make people jealous.
I mean, guys do stuff like that all the time.
Especially young ones.
Mess with you.
Yeah.
You're like, all right, I'll keep it moving then, buddy.
Yeah. Find somebody else outside of work. Have a trusted friend set you up just once.
That could work.
Usually doesn't though.
Rarely, but I'm thinking this is like a palate cleanser. You know what I mean? Like
Could be.
date somebody bad and then move on. Or it could work out. Who knows? I mean, I don't, in my personal experience, it never has, but you never know. A palate cleanser date.
Some pickled ginger.
It's a thing, that's for sure.
Not the
Been
wasabi.
there before.
Pickled ginger.
Everybody needs some pickled ginger at some point.
Absolutely. Get your confidence back. Get your equilibrium back, so you know you're not crazy.
Get your groove back, Stella.
Yeah.
And just because you're interested in someone doesn't mean you need to pursue them every time.
Mm-hmm.
Putting that out there too.
Yeah. Sometimes look but don't touch is a very nice thing.
Just like what I do with Jason Momoa,
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's a proximity issue for you. If he was close, you'd try to touch him. We all know this.
Maybe, or I might geek out. I've been known to do that in front of celebrities where I just totally geek out and I can't even go near him.
I know. What would you say to him? Like, really?
I'd be like, oh my gosh, I don't know. I don't know my name anymore. Who are you? What's happening? Where am I?
I'm Jason. Hi. Sasha. I'm Sasha. Hi, Jason.
I think I would geek out pretty bad around him.
Oh yeah, and look into those eyes. Holy smokes!
Mm-hmm.
Just
I
melt.
would be done.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Game over.
Mm-hmm. You know it.
It's a good thing he's taken, right?
Yes. And I think they're a cute couple, so I won't be a homewrecker or anything.
For sure. They are adorable.
They're like so cute. And I love how they're both really goofy too. They just seem to get along and complement each other well.
Brought to you by Post-it Notes. When you have that forgetful coworker at the office, tell them to stick it.
And we're back from outer space.
Start singing. Come on.
Okay, now I'm going to read this next letter, if I can see it. My coworker is very rude to me sometimes. Although she can be fun to talk to, she constantly comes to my work area and bothers me. How can I make her stop annoying me without doing anything rude or underhanded? I'm curious, like what underhanded would be. Like putting thumbtacks on the floor around your desk.
I'm curious how old this person is and what in the world is going on that makes it seem like they're in like third grade.
Yeah.
I don't know. This just seems very juvenile to me.
It's very comical.
It could very well be.
Very rude to me sometimes. She can be fun to talk to, but she comes and bothers me in my work area. It's like, well, which one is it? Are they very rude to you? Sometimes can be fun to talk to, but they bother you.
Sounds like a love-hate relationship.
Yeah. You want them around when you want them around, and when you don't want them around, you want them to leave you alone. This is the time where you like you have somebody set up to like call your work phone when you want them to leave you alone and be like, oh, I gotta grab this. And you pick it up and start talking on the phone, and then they walk away and you go back to work.
Headphones a lot. Like really big headphones. Yeah, really big headphones.
Noise canceling.
Yep. And
Get
just
those,
ones.
get those
listening to
Beats
stuff.
headphones.
Yeah, the brightest color you can get, the biggest ones you can get, just so like that is the message. I am working and I am busy.
The ones with the cat ears, maybe?
Yeah, that would work totally.
There you go.
That's a good message.
Yeah, I feel like it's a very confusing question. Like you're saying, like they come out the gate saying they're very rude to me sometimes. And then they're like, but they can be fun to talk to, but they bother me. How can I make her stop annoying me? And I think it's funny that she says, without doing anything rude or underhanded, that's the way they were going to handle it. But they figured they'd ask advice before they engaged in that kind of behavior, is what it sounds like. It's kind of funny. Like, yeah, I'm going to be rude and underhanded, or maybe I shouldn't because I'm at work. No. Like,
Okay, Snidely Whiplash. who's like that's showing I'm not my age anyway. Who's a villain that would do something underhanded in current pop culture?
Something underhanded to get rid of someone else who's bothering them. I don't know.
Like a super villain, maybe? Who is a good super villain?
Thanos.
Yeah, okay, Thanos. You would go off with Thanos.
Snap your fingers and make him disappear. Go
Yeah,
for it.
that was the underhanded part, but this is Plan B is asking us what to do.
yeah, it's just kind of, I don't even know what to say. Like, I feel like there's more than I'm getting.
It sounds like they can't even make up their mind if this person's annoying or not to start with. So we have no advice to give.
I mean, I would never be rude or underhanded. Like, is that person being spiteful to them? Like, are they, I don't know. Like, what is the person's motive? Are they just a generally annoying person? There are people like that. They're not trying to be rude or whatever. They just come off that way. But it doesn't sound like it warrants that kind of retribution. Sounds like a confused person, like you're saying.
Or an introvert, in which case the giant headphones are a good solution.
Yeah, every time.
With cat ears. Do they have any other animal ears on headphones?
I saw unicorn ones one time with the unicorn horn on it.
That would be fancy. I like that too.
That's all I've seen though.
Poke somebody's eye out. That would be pretty underhanded, right?
That would get your message across though. I mean, there's no doubt. Went over to George's desk today and he stabbed me in the face with his headphones. I'm not talking to that bastard again.
Just turn
There you
around
go.
really fast.
Everyone will leave you alone after that.
Problem solved, guys.
Yeah. No one will annoy you ever again.
It's like every time they go to your desk, just like excuse yourself and say you have to get up and go somewhere else and just like leave them standing there so they feel awkward and stop coming over. I gotta go make some copies. I gotta get out of here real quick.
Oh my gosh, there's an episode of 30 Rock where they make fun of a secret society for I think it was Princeton. They found out that Jack Donaghy, the character played by Alec Baldwin, he was in the secret society, and their code was anytime someone said the name of the secret society, which was the Twig and Plums, which is obviously making fun of stuff. Anyway, he had to make it. The rule was, as you know, a member of the society, you had to make an excuse to leave the room. So
Oh my god.
they would show up like at his press conferences or whatever and be like Twig and Plums, and he'd go, excuse me, I my veterinarian's cousin's dog has an appointment, I need to go, you know, like just something really random. It was funny.
Twig and Plums.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well, we got a mini question down here now.
Yeah, is that your turn, Sasha?
My turn? I see
Yes.
you nodding over there. This one's for you, Sasha.
Okay.
How do you deal with a team member who constantly opposes your ideas?
Like you do all day long.
Well, not all day. When we're not talking, I don't have a chance to.
Oh, but you really
Oh,
want to all day. You just
Ow.
can't.
I think about it, but the opportunity's not there all the time.
Yeah, that's fair.
Daydreams about opposing you.
This is
Yeah,
this has got to be like one of the most vague questions. I mean,
very vague.
a team member who opposes your ideas. Well, first of all, it's not all about you. Maybe they have a good idea too. But I think that if you're working on a team, you should always have people with opposing ideas discussing whatever's the best course of action for anything. Maybe instead of viewing it as someone's trying to go against you as the all powerful, only good idea having person on the team, maybe you should check yourself a little bit and be open to some sort of criticism and come up with a good solution based on your discussion with the rest of your team. Even if they don't agree with you, hear them out. What's their side look like? Why do they think what they think? Especially if it's in opposition to what you think. Maybe they'll surprise you and have a good point of view, something you didn't consider before.
Yeah, I mean, it is very vague, but
Super vague.
I have also known people that are just always playing devil's advocate and they just always want to shut you down because they don't want to agree with you. So I can see that happening, but you should be able to defend your ideas even if someone opposes you. If it is a good idea, it'll stand up. I think just being more confident in what you think and not backing down right away and just being like, this is what I think. You can think differently than me, that's okay. But like you're saying, in a team, to have more than one person express their ideas and opinions, that's needed. That's where the best ideas come from. It's healthy.
And if their motivation is only to oppose your ideas and you start an open discussion, their idea is not going to have a leg to stand on and they're just going to look like an idiot.
Yeah.
So
people will see that. They're not the only person on their team. Like it's not like there's other people.
The idea of free speech in America to begin with is that if we have clear and open discussion, the good ideas will rise to the surface and the crappy ideas will get squashed because they're seen as crappy ideas. You just got to be open to hearing out possibilities and talking through them with an open mind. That's where people trip up, I think, is just assuming out of the gate that somebody's idea is bad or good or whatever. But in a team setting, especially though, if you give them the opportunity to back their stuff up and they have no leg to stand on, then they're probably going to stop opposing you pretty quickly just to oppose you if that's what they're doing. Because they just look like an idiot.
Like you should always weigh something both directions. You shouldn't just accept everything, but you shouldn't reject everything. Yeah, like if you feel like your idea is a good one, you stand by it, then do that. Don't just fold and be like, this person is against me, so I'm not going to say anything anymore. That's not how a team should operate at all.
Or you could make like you're in prison and beat up the bully to show dominance and to win over the team. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, just come out and shank the biggest guy right off the bat.
Yeah, just take him down. The rest of the team will follow you if you take on the bully, because they've probably been opposing everybody else's ideas too, because that's what it sounds like, is like that person that just like, I have to show I'm in charge, but you like show you're gonna like question them, they probably won't be able to handle it. They'll go down. But don't shank them, for real, please.
That was
with your words.
It was metaphorical. Okay.
Yeah. Metaphorical shanking, a verbal shanking.
Yes, exactly.
Put a metaphorical bar of soap in a metaphorical sock and beat them with it metaphorically.
Yeah, because I work with somebody like this, that they just have to have their say, like, in everything. And that's just how they operate. And so you show like a little bit of backbone, they'll back down. All right, you ready for this one?
This is a good one.
You want me to read it?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. This one says, what do you do when the person you're around the most during working hours constantly gripes and complains about everything under the sun? Ooh, wow. Yeah.
Get some Zoloft, crumble it up, grind it up, and put it in their drinks every day. Get them to cheer up, Charlie.
Give them a couple of uppers and
something. Good Lord.
The best. Yeah, I've worked with people like that before, and
it's exhausting.
I was going to say it's very draining. I ended up just distancing myself a little bit. Like I would still be friendly with the person, but they wouldn't be the person that I'm around the most during working hours any longer. I just couldn't do it because something about that kind of negative outlook, it affects you a lot of times. And then you start becoming very negative and it's not good for anybody. So I mean, people like that, you can't tell them anything. That's just the way that they are for one reason or another. And it's
So you're
going to take.
saying can't nobody tell them nothing?
Yeah. I mean, I actually tried to help somebody like that. They had legitimate things that happened in their life that were just horrible things. And I tried to support them and be there for them. And I tried to be the shoulder for them to lean on. And like, it just ended up taking a toll on me and I couldn't do it anymore. I was just drained and exhausted and they just kept going on and on through the same cycle every day. And so it's hard. You don't want to be a cold person, but you have to take care of yourself too. I mean, I would just recommend some distance from this person. I wouldn't recommend, telling them. They may even know they're like that and there's nothing they can do to change it. That's a possibility, but you can still care about them, but maybe just don't spend so much time around them because it'll affect you too much negatively. Or is a lot, drugging or whatever you want to do or that.
What I usually try to do with people like this is just hit them back with like the most annoying positive outlook you possibly can. Just because like if they're like, oh, I can't stand this stapler never works or whatever, I'd be like, I don't know, just throw some like goofy positive thing out there, just try to like point out every silver lining you possibly can to every situation. And kind of like flip the table on them, I guess, a little bit. Because usually if they're the type of person that can take any sort of hint, at the very least, they'll stop complaining to you because they don't want to hear you being positive. If they want to wallow in their in their own complaining and self-pity and stuff, then they'll just kind of back up from complaining. Or, I mean, you may actually get them to see a positive side of a few things, and maybe they'll come around a little bit. Odds are they're one of those people that just likes being miserable. And they don't like being around happy people. So just be a happy person. They'll leave you alone.
Keep seeing that emotional vampire in What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh, I love that.
Just being a major downer all the time. Oh my God. Yeah, I agree. I also have a coworker like this who gripes about literally everything. And yeah, the way to at least to get them to not gripe to you is to be little Mary Sunshine all the time because they hate that. They really do. They can't feed off of that, so they have to go find somebody miserable because they're emotional vampires. But yeah,
really
I mean,
are.
yeah, they have more than likely have had a hard life. The person I'm thinking of definitely has. But yeah, you got to take care of yourself. Can't let them drain you.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people go through difficult things, but you can choose how you react to it. You don't choose those things that happen to you. Yeah, you do have a choice of how you react to things that happen that are just absolutely horrible. So, and it's never easy, but it is possible to come out the other side and not let it just totally drag you down.
How should I address my coworker who acts like they are my boss, but isn't actually my boss? Yeah, delightful.
Disclaimer, if you're this person, I hate you.
Already biased against this person.
Well, I hate when people try to act like they're your boss when they're not. Ugh, despise those people.
It's a lot. It's a lot. I personally, as a non-confrontational person, I'll go, yeah, and then do whatever I want anyway, or whatever my actual boss says.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, you don't have to listen to them or let them get to you. What's going to happen if you don't? Nothing. They're probably just a little person who's trying to make themselves feel important. That's fine. You don't need to confront them and, take them down or anything. Yeah, just be like I appreciate your input or your opinion or whatever, and then just do whatever you're going to do.
That's the best advice for sure. Just completely because if you engage them, you're like feeding that monster because they want to be important and they want to be relevant and they want to be your boss, but they're not. So if you try to argue with them or whatever, that's just like giving them more more to feed on. That's really the way to just smile and nod and then walk away every time. Just, yeah, okay, cool. And then go back to playing Tetris or whatever you do.
What do the little penguins say in Madagascar? They're like, just smile and wave, boys. Smile
Exactly.
and wave. Just do that.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Madagascar yourself, bud.
Yes. That's a wonderful movie in case you haven't seen it too. It's really good.
The penguins were my favorite too.
Yeah.
They're so funny. Love those guys.
How do you not engage in a conversation with a gossipy coworker who is always trying to have a conversation with you in a non-confrontational and polite manner? So you got a gossipy coworker that you want to shut down in a non-confrontational and polite way. You need to learn conversation enders. Like, think back. I think everybody's always had this person that they can like walk up to any conversation and say like one or two words, and then no one knows what to say because they could just end the conversation and just kill it. Start doing that. I try to do that stuff with people that are gossipy. I'm just like, you just don't pay them any mind. Don't engage them at all, because you don't want to be part of it, especially at work. Gossiping at work is just completely toxic. It'll just rot everything out of your whole work system, and everybody that gets involved just gets destroyed. It's ugly. If they're like, oh, did you hear about so and so, just be like, no, I don't really think about that, or it doesn't really affect me, or I'm just trying to work on my TPS reports over here. Whatever it is, just kind of like in a nonchalant roundabout way, just let it be made known that you don't care, and they'll get away, because that's what gossipy people love, is like the sensational reactions to stuff like, oh my god, did you know that Stacy got a DWI last weekend? I'd be like, nope, and don't really care. It's not helping me with my job right now.
And don't discount the opportunity to spread some like really wacky gossip about yourself. That's not true. I think that would be kind of funny.
Like
It's
what?
always good.
What would you spread?
I don't know, like you found the Prince of Monaco on Tinder or something like that. I mean, that could be really some really juicy stuff, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like for me, sometimes I try to humanize the person that they're gossiping about. Like, if they say something about somebody, I'll be like, well, maybe they're just having a hard time, or I don't know. Like I try to take it the other way, so then they feel like a bad person. That sounds bad, but then they won't talk to you about it anymore.
Yeah.
They'll be like, oh, this person won't feed into this like I do. I can't come and share this stuff with them anymore.
That's true. They could be like the emotional vampire. And yeah, if you just uptick everything, they'll lose interest. That's a good point.
Yeah. Or I'll be like, you know what? I think that's a private matter, and I don't think they'd like us talking about it, or something like that. If you act like that, a lot of times they'll just shut down and they won't talk about it anymore. So that could work too.
Yeah, you're too rational. That's good. Yeah, be rational.
Sometimes being rational is a good thing. Yeah. For sure. Yeah, or just make up bigger, worse stories, or that,
Yeah, you saw Bigfoot in the woods. Where do they have those Sasquatch sightings in California?
Make everything more sensational.
Yeah.
Like, did you hear that Bob and his wife are having problems at home? Like, I didn't, but I heard that Jake over there killed somebody last weekend, so you should probably get on that. You didn't hear about that, did you?
Right. He's going to be on Dateline next week.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. He was on Catch a Predator. Oh no, that might be too bad. No.
Yeah, you don't.
Oh wow.
He's gonna be on The Bachelor. There we go. That's a nice one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there you go.
that's a better way to spin it.
I heard he was gonna be on The Bachelor. Or what's that other one? Love is Blind. That
Oh my gosh. That one was interesting.
that was pretty crazy.
I hope they make another one, honestly. Like, that makes me sound like a bad person, but I don't know. I like to.
No,
it was
I would
interesting to watch it.
Yeah, I would watch it too.
I
Did
don't
you
know
see-
how much of it was real, but
I know. You gotta wonder. SNL did a parody, a COVID one, where they all were sick.
Oh my gosh.
and they're like quarantined in there. It was pretty funny. I'll have to send it.
That
to
would
you.
work in that situation, right? They were
It
all
would.
in their own little rooms and whatever. COVID dating.
Yeah, COVID dating. That would be a great show, wouldn't it? We should do that. Not me personally, but someone should.
No,
do
it's
that.
gonna be you.
No.
Oh yeah. You're
No.
gonna be the first one to go in there.
No COVID dating.
And everyone
There-
has a mask on.
Yeah. No,
So you
just like the
can't
whole
tell.
hazmat suit with the gloves. So you can't see each other.
Oh my god.
Or like your body shape. you just have to like go with whatever.
You could just dress up like the Masked Singer. Do dating that
yeah.
way. Those
Yeah.
big crazy costumes.
Mass
you go.
singer dating, mass dating. That would work.
Yeah.
Mass Bachelor with a spinoff. That'd be hilarious. You're talking to a duck.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you have no idea what they look like underneath all of that.
Or how crazy they are, because that would be fabulous.
Thanks for riding with us on the crazy train and not losing your lunch. Until next time,